Tonight on KGW News, tense moments on top of a Sherwood home.
Hey, Rocky, no, Rocky, come here.
The teamwork by first responders that brought this child with autism back to safety. Plus,
oh, everybody's shocked.
The end of an era for one of Oregon's craft brewing originals, why Rogue Ale suddenly shuttered its entire operation. Then, how could the bill that reopened the government actually hurt one of Oregon's biggest industries?
As written, it seems to be impossible.
And later, we are running for the end zone on Friday Night Football with the state quarterfinals now kicking off in full force. First at 11, a significant blow to Oregon's craft beer empire. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Today, after 30 plus years in business, Rogue Ales and Spirits suddenly ended operations, closing its brewery in Newport and brew pubs around the state. Catherine Cook's in the newsroom with a look at what led up to this and the impact. Catherine?
David, the Port of Newport, which leased property to Rogue, says the company had been in financial trouble for about a year and owed them more than $500,000. Dozens of people have lost their jobs, and after nearly 4 decades, a business synonymous with Oregon appears to be no more. On what should have been a busy Friday night, security gates at this Rogue brewery in southeast Portland signaled the end of an era in Oregon's brewing legacy. Multiple sources tell KGW Rogue Ales and Spirits has abruptly shuttered all operations.
That's sad because the brewery's been around forever, and as an Oregonian, it's kind of an institution for Oregonians.
Oh, everybody's shocked. Rogue has been in the area for, I believe, 37 years.
Paula Miranda is executive director at Port of Newport, where Rogue leased property for its headquarters. She says over the last year, Rogue had fallen more than $500,000 behind on rent and taxes. Miranda says Rogue's president asked to meet with her on Friday and told her Rogue was shutting down.
It was hard to hear because I was truly hoping that we would come to some plans that would help them continue being successful.
With Rogue's Newport closure, Miranda says 60 people will lose their jobs. 3 will stay on the payroll to properly close the 47,000 square foot brewery. Newport Mayor Jan Kaplan called Rogue an incredible partner and iconic.
A wonderful and humanity-minded business that sponsored so many nonprofits and events that we will be sadly missing them.
Rogue Brewery was founded in 1988. Its most popular beer, the Dead Guy Ale, a staple in local bottle shops and around the country. At one point, Rogue grew into Oregon's second largest craft brewing operation while garnering a global following. But for so many Oregon breweries, the business landscape has changed abruptly.
We know they have been struggling since COVID. Sales of beer has gone down quite a bit, and it's been difficult times for a lot of people. So in a sense, it was not super surprising.
Back at the brewery, it's hard to talk about Rogue in the past tense.
They always have great seasonal stuff, or they did, I guess is the best way to say that.
37 years on tap, without a true last call. The Port of Newport says they're exploring legal options to make sure they're made whole. They expect to learn more next week regarding Rogue's plans. We tried but could not reach Rogue today. David?
As you said, end of an era. Appreciate it, Catherine. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the Trump administration plans to appeal a federal judge's ruling that blocks National Guard troops from deploying to Portland. The feds formally filed notice this afternoon following Judge Karen Immergut's decision last week calling the president's plan unlawful, though it appears this appeal will not be decided anytime soon. The state of Oregon has until March to file its brief to the Ninth Circuit. For now, members of the National Guard are still in training and waiting at least for another week at military sites in Clackamas and Clatsop counties. Meanwhile, President Trump has signed an executive order rolling back tariffs on a number of food items. These include imports like coffee, beef, and bananas. It comes as the White House faces what appears to be growing criticism for high grocery prices. According to exit polls in this month's election, the cost of living and the economy were both big concerns for voters. And the FAA says it is rolling back flight cuts from 6% of flights down to 3% as of tomorrow morning. The cuts were due to the government shutdown and an air traffic controller shortage. They've impacted 40 major airports over the last week. According to PDX, 18 flights were canceled today, with a couple dozen more delayed. So far, 9 flights have been canceled tomorrow. All right, check out this live view of Pioneer Courthouse Square on this Friday night where the tree is slowly taking shape. Hey, if you've got outdoor plans this weekend, it turns out you should get plenty of dry time. Matt's here with the first look at your weekend forecast. Happy Friday, Matt.
Thanks, David. Yeah, it's a pretty nice night out there. In fact, it's a really warm night. Look at this. We're at 58 degrees. Our high for the day was 59, so we've only dropped 1 degree, and partly because of the cloud cover that you can see, the other part, the south wind, helping to mix the air. It's not super strong, but it's breezy. It's noticeable. 13 miles an hour in Portland. Down in Salem, much the same. Really great view of the state capitol. South winds at 15 and 57 degrees there. So again, it's a nice night. Humidity really isn't all that high for this time of the year and this time of the night, but there has been some rain, but the sprinkles, that's all they are, just really light and widely scattered sprinkles. The biggest batch was up in Clark County. It's kind of moved down over eastern Multnomah County right now and up into the Cascade foothills, as you can see there, but there's not a lot to this. A little bit of light rain coming to Astoria right now too, with another very small batch of rain. So I'm not too concerned about much rain overnight. You can see we've only had a couple of hundreds here and there, but the coast has done better, nearly a half an inch up at Astoria. So mostly cloudy in the first part of the day, then the clouds begin to break up. We get another chance of rain coming in late Sunday, Dave. We'll talk about that in a bit. Back to you.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Matt. In a health alert tonight, the Oregon Health Authority is urging parents to stop using a brand of infant formula recalled over possible botulism infections. The CDC now reports 2 cases of infant botulism in Oregon linked to ByHeart formula products. Nationwide, there are 23 cases. It's up from the 15 reported on Tuesday. OHA says if your infant recently had this brand of formula, label it "do not use," store it for at least a month, and monitor your baby for any symptoms. At least 2 families, by the way, are suing the company, which says it's focused on making sure families are aware of the recall. Meanwhile, the bill approved by Congress to reopen the government may also deal a big blow to an Oregon industry. Tucked into the spending bill was a provision to restrict hemp products that contain THC. Congress legalized the sale of hemp products in 2018, but the definition was so broad it created a loophole that allowed some products to contain enough THC to get users high. Hemp products will now be capped at just 0.4 milligrams per container. It's a fraction of what's in nearly all products on the market today, including popular THC-infused seltzers. It turns out Oregon is the largest floral hemp producer by acreage. One hemp producer says the bill makes it impossible for his business to comply.
The plant, as it grows naturally, has a very, very small amount of THC. Most of it's been bred out of it, but it's there. What this legislation is asking us to do is eliminate all of it.
The change takes effect next year. It's important to note these regulations are specific to hemp products often sold outside dispensaries. It does not apply to marijuana products, which are regulated at the state level. The longtime co-founder of downtown Portland's Higgins restaurant has now died. Paul Mallerie was 71 years old and led the restaurant's front of house team for decades. Mallerie's business partner, Chef Greg Higgins, posted that Mallerie was the, quote, quiet force behind so much of what made Higgins what it is. Higgins says in the coming days it plans to share how they plan to honor Mallerie.